Men, the podcast.
Hi, this is Men, the podcast. Mimi naitwa Michael Baruti, Nadia, what's up?
Hi, Michael.
Look at you all smiling and all.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Umetukimbia, umerudi. Yeah. Mtaani watu wakaanza kuandamana. We want Nadia back. We want Nadia back. We want Nadia back. We want Nadia back.
They want the podcast back.
Literally, technically. I think, yeah. It's nipo muhimu sana. The month, yeah, tutakuwa nataka podcast, yeah?
Podcast.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How
Happy New Year to everyone.
To everybody, yes. How have you been?
I've been great.
Do you have New Year resolutions?
No.
Amazing. Yes, so you know me too.
Yeah? No.
We're gonna wing it.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
One intention at a time.
Yes, one intention at a time. New Year resolutions are overrated.
Yeah. Like I was reading something. I think this is someone living abroad. They were like, you know why New Year's, but I don't know what our excuse is as Tanzanians, and we can discuss this in the whatever chats. He was saying kwamba most people fail at New Year's resolutions because when do you make them? December into January. What season is that? They're in winter. Literally nature is telling you go flipping hibernate. Like go rest, recuperate, relax, binge eat, binge watch, just be
normal.
Just be you. Just release, let go. And then you come in here with all these goals. I want to do this and I want to do that. Wakati nature is telling your body, slow down. You can't even go outside most times. Take it easy. And then here you are with all these goals. This is why we fail.
And
then I was thinking, I was like, I like this. And I was like, so what is my excuse as a Tanzanian living with summertime all year round with some rain?
So this year, what me and Joe will do, tutajaribu kutafuta sababu ya kuwapa watu. So we're going to look at a lot of things about why you shouldn't work on New Year resolution. And this is what we're going to do. And I hope by the time tunafika mwezi wa 6 wa 7, tutakuwa na sababu nzuri ambayo itawafanya watu waendelee mpaka December. Yeah? Perfect. So that's Nadia, our own resident psychologist, therapist. Naweza kumpata @mindmatterstz on Twitter, @mindmatterstz on Instagram. Are you back to posting on Instagram now? It's like you went MIA and this because now
yeah, now I'm posting.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back.
Yeah. So there's a link kwenye bio yake ambayo itakupeleka moja kwa moja kwenye website, and then definitely kuna njia kuweza kuwasiliana naye if you need somebody to talk to, and definitely, well, not for free. She charges. Maana sije mkasema anafanya pro bono hapa.
Nice disclaimer.
Michael alituambia tuonane na wewe. Hakutuambia kuhusu kulipa. No guys, amesomea hichi kitu kama ulivyosomea udaktari, udereva, sijui nini, uandishi wa habari, na you getting paid for it. Kwa hiyo naomba tuheshimu hiyo. Yeah? And then definitely unaweza ukawasiliana naye zaidi kupitia huko. So yeah, lakini kwa sisi ni at Men the podcast. I want to say at Men Matters. Jesus, Nadia, nilipe. At Men the podcast on Twitter, at Men the podcast. Men the podcast on Instagram and Facebook as well. And then, send us DM, Twitters, send whatever it is. Na kama kuna vitu ambavyo unataka tuzungumzie, you think hatujazungumzia, please let us know. It's a platform kila mwanaume kuweza kuja na kudiscuss kuhusiana na mambo mazima ambao wanaume wanapitia, lakini specifically tukizungumzia issue zima ya mental health 2023. Here we go. Alpha Kapola. My man. How are you?
Doing good.
Okopoa.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you here finally, man.
Finally.
It's been a while. And we've been talking about it
I know.
since October, when we went to Nigeria. That was in October 2021.
I think even prior to that, probably.
Prior to that, we've been having this conversation. So it's been a long time coming. So yeah, to me join now Alpha Kapola. Alpha is a doctor. Dr. Alpha Kapola. Nobody heshimu shit. Just because umevaa ulivyovaa haikuondolei taaluma.
Shorts and
shorts. Haitaki kuondoa heshima yangu ya kuheshimu taaluma yako. So we are joined Dr. Alpha Kapola. Has a very interesting story ambayo nadhani in my mind nikasema kwamba itakuwa poa sana tukizungumzia kwenye podcast, lakini vivyo tujaribu kuangalia essence zima ya mental health, wanaume na choices, na namna gani saa nyingine mazingira tunayokaa, jamii tunayoishi inaput expectations kwetu. Tunaisha kufanya maybe calling tunasema. Tunaishia kufanya vitu ambavyo maybe is not our calling. Na namna gani you can actually take a stand na kusema you know what, it's high time niende nikatafute passion yangu kwa sababu I believe that is very fulfilling, right? Waga nawaambia watu kwamba I think for me I started to like when I was on my early 30s, right? Ndio nikaanza kupata ile purpose in life professionally. Kujua kabisa kwamba Michael, career yako inataka iende hizi. And I'm thankful kwamba always nimeland kazi zote ambazo nimepata ni zile ambazo zinaendana na career yangu na I always like napenda kufanya kazi ambazo zina impact. Not say nyingine zina impact but napenda kufanya kazi ambayo I can actually feel the impact of the work that I'm doing, right? This is why I love doing this podcast because I know exactly nafanya nini. This is why I love working at Ubongo where we create content ya watoto Akili and me, Bongo Kids, because I know exactly nenda kufanya nini. This is why I loved working at BBC Media Action, ndio tulikuwa tunafanya governance program ambayo nilikuwa najua impact. So it has always been like that for me. And hata ikitokea nikapata another career move, definitely itakuwa guided na hivyo vitu because for me that is what fulfills me, right? Nadia, what fulfills you career-wise?
Same. Making an impact, but I know with my work it's not immediate. Like I don't see it, and most times when people are already resolved what brought them to see me for, it's rare that someone would come back and say, "This is how."
You feel like they used you, then they dumped you, right?
No, but
you feel used.
that's my role. But that's been always my passion, like doing something that I know is helping someone else, whether I'm aware of it, whether I see that byproduct or not, but just knowing that I've helped guide someone, you know, or walked with someone on a path that leads them to a better version of themselves. And in turn, I get to learn more about myself and I get to grow into a better version. So I think maybe selfishly, that's my primary reason why I do this.
It's more
about me,
which is good. It's a good reason.
Each day, every client I see, in one way or the other, helps me grow. So I feel like I'm a better version of myself, literally, after every encounter that I have. And I get to be more grateful. You get to...
Yes, the last part, being grateful, right? And the more I feel like the more unaongea na watu kuhusiana na impact unachofanya, the more you become humbled. Now the more you get to appreciate more choice ambayo umefanya ya career, right? Alpha, what fulfills you?
Wow.
Kwenye career, what fulfills you?
I think it's definitely impact. It's definitely impact all around. Like it's impact. It's one of the things that it has been there like way back. I think one of the things, maybe I can start from the core in terms of just the core value. One of the biggest core values that I always tell people, which I learned it from home, from my parents. Like our mother always say like, love one another. So love is one of the main thing, one of the core values that I'm really holding very high. So that has transformed, that has come, that I've grown up with that, and then more now it's more of like you have to like loving people. That means you want the better for other people, not just for yourself. You want something better to happen for other people.
And that is love.
That is pure love. So it's definitely one of those things that you want to happen to people. It's definitely impact. So in life, whatever that I do, that I'm making sure that it's touching people like from different. Whether it could be maybe like on a small level in terms of like just one person, or maybe like in a bigger level, maybe from the government point of view, like to the country, to the world. I don't mind, but as long as I'm making impact to someone, I think that's the most important thing for me.
One day at a time.
Yes, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So, talk to me about the daktari.
Right.
Like you're not practicing. Well,
Yes,
I wouldn't say you're not practicing kwa sababu unatusaidia tukana yetu. Right? I wouldn't say you're not practicing, lakini ushinda hospitali.
Yeah.
Ulipi na hospitali. And when I met you, nilipokutana na wewe, you are literally working on content creation.
Yes.
Na sio content ya You are literally working to create content ya watoto, right?
So part of it, a bit of health, a very small part of it,
So,
but mostly general.
So talk to me, ulifikaje hapo?
Yeah, so when I went to, I think it started when I went to uni. That's where I went to study medicine. So I said,
ulitaka kusoma medicine?
yes, exactly.
It was purely a
It
choice.
was purely my choice. But I had also a conversation when I finished Form 4. I had a conversation with my parents. Like then I was like, should I do PCB? Should I do PCM? And then they're like, actually, you can try PCB. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should do PGM and stuff and stuff like that. You know, when you're a kid, like maybe I want to be a pilot, I want to be an engineer, I want to be this. But in the end, I think it just felt peace again. So doing PCB, then I went to study medicine. So during that time, I used to work at church. So I grew up in a very spiritual family. My parents are very core spiritual people. So I used to go to church, and the church I was serving by that time I did not know anything about the cameras, but I had passionate about all those things like visual and stuff like that. So I started learning about things and production. That's just general production, and from that I worked at the school TV, and worked like all 7 years at church, like was technically like not full time, but technically like a full time, would say, because it was like. Was very technical and very heavy. And the technology grew, of course. You started using different cameras and stuff like that. So from way back. So that, when I was studying, I think one of the things I've been asking myself, like, after I finished school, all this knowledge that I got from medicine and all this knowledge that I got from production, like, there's no way I'm gonna leave one of them. Like, I love both of them. Like, I love stuff about healthcare. I love stuff about production. So I said to myself, like, I'll really try to find a way to navigate through life and to combine these things together. I don't know how that will be, to just combine these two together. But by that time, honestly, even when I was doing school, I was just like really practicing as practical practicing. It's not really deep down in me. Yeah, it's something that I love to see friends, and I really respect people who are doing that because it's valuable.
So basically, your aim wakati unasoma was to come and practice kuwa medic. Like,
yes.
The idea was you a doctor kabisa, ukae Muhimbili utibu watu.
Exactly. That was the idea. But during
wakati unaanza chuo.
Yes, wakati unaanza chuo. But during that course, you come to realize, like, oh my God, it is beyond just sitting there. I can actually do more with my knowledge. I can actually do more. So it's a realization that I got when I was in school. Then I was like, just once I finished school, there's no way I'm gonna say I'm gonna practice. So I think that was a third year going to the fourth year in school. That's when I was just gonna say, once I finish school. So mind you, you're thinking like that. But your parents back home and everybody back home is thinking like,
Dr. Alpha Narudi.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you're coming back and all the things.
Utapata kazi Kairuki.
Yeah, I know, right?
Or Muhimbili, Aga Khan, whatever, one of those big hospitals.
And the school is such a prestigious thing for parents and for relatives too. Someone to become a doctor. So it's a great thing. It's a great feeling when you say like, oh, actually my son is a doctor.
Yes, it's a great feeling.
Yeah. So when I came here and then I told my parents that I'm not gonna practice, then I finished my internship. And then I told them, like, yeah, I'm not going to practice. It was a shocker to them. It was just like, I think my dad now has started to understand a bit.
Now?
Yeah, baby. I would say, here's the thing. I'll tell you one very interesting story. So my dad, usually people ask him like, oh, so how is Alpha doing and stuff like that. So he said, oh, Alpha is actually looking for a job. He's still looking for a job.
But you had a job.
I'm like, Dad, I'm working. I'm like, dude, it's Dr. Kazi. Yeah. Like, he's like, unajua bado anatafuta kazi and things like that. I'm like, Dad.
Nafanya kazi.
Yeah, like I'm working. So there's this time he went to one of the hospital, and then So I met with one young guy, a doctor and stuff like that. And then he started speaking with him. So actually, I also have a son and stuff like that. But by that time, I was working with you guys. Yeah. And then he told the guy that actually, my son has finished school since this year, but he's still looking for a job, like a medical job. And the guy called me. He gave me my number. The guy called like, dude, I heard like you're looking for jobs, so there's this place.
There's an opening.
Yeah, there's an opening. I'm like, bro, I'm the whole full employed dude. So it
Yeah.
wasn't easy, to be honest, for parents. So I would say it wasn't easy for them. But I would say one thing that I'm thankful to them, I think they have raised us in a way that we can make sort of like choices that we want, though sometimes they wouldn't agree 100% with them, or it will take a long time for them to agree. I think they've raised us in a way that we can challenge them, we can ask them questions, some of the questions like very uncomfortable questions, and we can tell them like, Mom, no, this is not it, Dad. No.
Shukuru Mungu kwa sababu a lot of African families ambao ambazo wengi wamekulia na mimi. I'm glad I grew up in a family ambayo it's mzee alikwambia just do what works for you. Just get a legal job. Ile kazi halali. But you know, do what works for you. Na ndio maana nyumbani I have my brother amesoma statistics. My sister amesoma IT. My little brother ni mwanasheria. Ni lecturer, mimi hapa mwandishi wa habari. You know, it's like, hey, you do what works for you, and you know, you find your purpose in life. I guess that's the essence, right? Lakini vivyo we have a lot of watu ambao tumekuwa nao ambao mtu anakuambia I want you to be a doctor kwa sababu mimi nilikuwa doctor, au tuna familia ya engineers, so it only makes sense kwa hiyo kuengineer. Kwa as a kid unakuwa ukijua kwamba the only way naweza nikapima success ni mimi nikija kwa engineer.
It's actually good to be inspired. You can be inspired by what the people you see around.
But here's the thing though, where do you draw the line between being inspired, being forced to? Kwa sababu nyingine as you grow up, the line is very, it's hard to tell. And I think I would say unconsciously as you grow up, you think kwamba yani that's your north, kwamba I want to be this person kwa sababu ina make sense, kwa sababu kila mtu amekuwa hivyo. And then you don't really get time ya kujitafuta wewe na kusema what do I want in life. And this is why we have doctors ambao wana hasira, they are not happy. Tuna engineers ambao they are not happy. Tuna waandishi habari ambao they are not happy because this thing was forced upon them. It's not kitu ambacho mtu mwenyewe. And I feel like for a lot of us growing up in Tanzania, that has been the case, no?
I think it's really interesting. I think to go back to the point that you're like, where do you draw a line? It's really. I give an example, like at home, because of the way that we are raised, and I really say, and this is truly, I'm really thankful for our parents, because we were raised in a very strong spiritual family, like Christian family, and then when we were growing up, I think we used to go in certain church, KKT, all of us, you know. Familia nzima. But when you grew up, like at this point, as I'm speaking, everyone goes to its own different church. Kila mtu anatafuta Mungu wake, right? Like we are all going to church, but not KKT. Like kila mtu anatafuta Mungu wake. So one thing that at least now is bringing us back together, because I have a brother who is a pastor, so everyone is listening now to him also. Right? Yeah, that means chances are kila mtu angekuwa anaenda kwenye kanisa lake. So it means that yes, you can have inspirational, what you need to do, or what you can do, but in the end, you yourself deep inside, you have to decide what to do. I think it really has to come deep down in you. Without that, you won't be happy. I think that's just like you.
And to have the courage to actually pursue it.
Right?
Like what you did, like your university doing medicine, because that was your calling. Your parents were also on board with it, but you found something that gave you, like, fed you as well. You know, that was your passion. Right? And you had the courage to say, I'm going to pursue this and I'm not going to do this, although I liked it and I went into it wanting to do this. But I feel like my direction is this other way, having that courage. Because kila siku mzazi lazima atakuwa disappointed. Like binadamu yoyote lazima kutakuwa na disappointment. If they had a vision for you, an idea, or vision for themselves. Kama hivyo your dad wants to go around and say, my son is a doctor. My mother always goes around, I'm like, I am a clinical psychologist. I'm not a doctor, please.
Anaambiwa tu, my daughter is a doctor. Mimi unafanya kazi Kairuki, umesoma Muhimbili.
So I'm like, it's for parents, it's something that they have their vision. As you're growing, they have an idea of this is where they're going to be. And it's mostly to serve, you, but also themselves. As human beings, we cannot help but have our self-interests in the different visions that we have. So having that courage to say, you know what, you'll be disappointed. I will bear that brunt, but this is what I love. is important.
It's important.
Because then if you don't have that courage, then it's easy to say, okay, I'll just please my family,
my family,
my parents. I'll please society. I will do what is easy. And I do it in air quotes because it's actually harder to do things that you don't innately feel like it's something it's your passion or it's your calling. Kwa sababu you're going to have to wake up every single day feeling like,
oh my God, I don't
again. You know? So it's actually, it feels easy.
Yeah.
But it's actually, it looks easy. Because
it makes sense.
Because you have cheerleaders on the side, your parents, community, society, everyone is like, yes, umesomea hivi, unafanya hivi, inaeleweka your direction that you're taking, this is what we saw you were going. Lakini wewe unaenda, you're miserable. So it's easy for everyone, like externally, but for you, it's actually the hardest path. It's easier to bear the brunt of people's disappointments, but you don't, because you don't wake up every single day. You don't spend 24 hours with that person's disappointment. But you spend 24 hours with your own disappointment, with your own distress. You know, so ultimately, it's actually easier to take the hard route than to go with this is status quo. This is what everyone in my family is doing. This is what everyone's vision for me is. Because utapata hiyo support, utapata our cheerleaders, lakini you won't be feeling good.
I think what has helped me, I think it's just one of the things that again, just refer again to the Bible. I think it's something that, thinking of it like when the moment that you say, I'm going to take this step, I think for me has been really from this scripture from the Bible, like God will give you peace that surpasses through all understanding.
Talk to me about it.
So here's the thing. So kama ni ile amani inayopita akili zote, uelewa, fahamu wote. That means usually I sit down and I say, wait, and I speak to God, I'm like, God, if there's a single bit of doubt, I'm not gonna do this. If there's a single, because if you say you're gonna give me peace that surpasses all understanding, there's no way that I'm gonna have a tiny doubt. So when he reached that moment for me, I'm like, this is a step to take. This is a step to take. So it has been a lot happening throughout my life, even shifting that. So everyone else might not understanding, but deep down, I have so much joy. I have so much, and the thing is this. Obviously, we should not forget. And I completely understand. At work, we say, okay, make sure that you enjoy your job. Make sure it's good. We are not saying that money is not important. Absolutely, it is very, very important.
Not to stress. Pesa
muhimu sana. Fanya kazi. Pesa ni muhimu sana. Of course, you get paid. You have to get paid well and all that stuff. But in the end, the practical part of the job, are you enjoying to do every single day? Are you happy with what we are doing? Because you can get paid lots, but if you're not happy, I mean, you might deliver, but might not be to the extent that you are supposed to deliver.
It's not fulfilling.
It's not fulfilling. So all these things has to go hand in hand. So when you have that peace, and then you realize that this is the next step, then you go. That part is what has guided you all your life in your decision as a define. All my life.
Alpha has a thing ambacho I really, really admire. Like this guy. When we used to work together, he would enda akachukua likizo a whole month and a half, akazima simu, mtu asijui yuko wapi. You know? And in my mind, of course, kwa tunamtendea simu kwamba utakuwa unaenda kupiga kazi zako za nje. Utakuwa na namba yako ya simu nyingine, unaiweka ili sisi ofisini hatujui, lakini namba yako nyingine. But anachoniambia what he does during that time, he travels, anaangalia nature, and it gives him a moment to think. In my mind, I'm like, that is some white people shit. But hey, it is what it is. So, talk to me how that has been for you. Na ni kwa namna gani imekusaidia wewe kwenye whether to make choices au kuwa much more at peace with yourself. Because katika vitu ambavyo I feel like a lot of people are struggling with. It could be both wanawake na wanaume, lakini katika context yetu tukizungumzia men ambao ni wanaume is being able to spend time with yourself. It's hard.
Yes, really.
Na kwa wanaume wengi we do not know how to do that. kuna watu they just cannot, hawezi kukaa wenyewe.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
like they always need a distraction, somebody to talk to, somewhere to go, you know, places to hang. Like you cannot spend time mwenyewe. Tell me, how has that been for you and how this process has actually helped you?
Yeah, so it's interesting that so usually I usually travel like for a couple weeks and stuff like that, but when I go there and I was explaining to this to one of my friends, I was like, and she was like, what do you do? What do you do then when you like you don't have a phone, you don't have this? So usually just me thinking of what I want to do in life, thinking of what can I do better, thinking of myself. So it's more of like, I call it like sort of like, you know, people who drink this detox.
Yeah.
So it's more of like detoxification. It's so more like like you take it out everything and you become yourself. So it's you sit in a moment where you think about things. Sometimes you are alone. Sometimes you look inside yourself and stuff.
And
so
you do this in Tanzania. You don't go outside the country.
I do. Like this year, I did outside the country. So I traveled for a couple of weeks. But usually I do it within the country. So it's like there's no really like an excuse like, oh my god, I don't have money to travel and stuff like. But really, if you can travel to just maybe in a certain mkoa mwingine, maybe somewhere far, and just lock yourself for a couple of days, maybe somewhere that is far from town, it really helps. So one thing I've realized that every time I come out of that, I come with a certain revelation. Like every time I go, like there's something that is happening in my life. Like there's usually a moment, like whether it's a career change, whether it's just a life shift in a certain things, it usually happen during that time when I have those moments. So I really, for me, it's like I have to make sure that now, because I've seen those trends, so I'm making intentional right now. Like there is no way out. I can work throughout the year, like without saying like I'm gonna hide myself in a certain time to just detoxicate myself. So it's such a great moment, because here's the thing, that statistics say that when we're having a conversation, when you're doing something, when someone gets distracted, when you get distraction, it's just a single distraction. A single distraction can take you 23 minutes to get back to that point. 23 minutes, right? So imagine that. So imagine we are having even like most of the time, like everyone is working remotely, right? They say the level of concentration of a human being is almost like 12 seconds, like to attention, paying attention or something. It's 12 seconds, and now I read somewhere like it has dropped to 8 seconds. So I don't know.
Too many distractions.
Yeah. So I don't know like how much those statistics are, like how valid those statistics are. But here's the thing: if you're in a conversation, let's say on a call with other people online, mind you, if you are speaking something for a very long time, it's really hard for people to follow, because most of the time, when there's no video, especially, most of the time people are on their phones this time, right? So it's so hard for people to focus. And mind you, a single distraction, it takes you 23 seconds to come back to normal. So that itself, it tells you, like, if you want to focus, if you want to know well about your life, you have to separate yourself with the distraction. So when I realized that was a groundbreaking for me. I was like, no, this is how I'm gonna realize the real me. So I have to stay apart. I have to stay away. And it goes back also to the example also in the Bible. If you read the Bible from the beginning, from the Genesis to all the way to the end. All the way to the end. God usually separate people. Like He set some people apart. Setting some people, like you see, like Adam has had many his kid, but all people is Cain and Abel, and then you hear like Abel, he was one. Then you come here. There's a father of Abraham who was Terah. Then Terah, from his family, there were a lot of people in his family.
Like in Mungu akamchagua Abraham.
Then from Abraham, Isaac akamchagua Isaac.
Yakobo Yusufu.
So you see that trend. And then they say the same way until now. Look at Jesus. So he had many people followers, and then he had the 12. And then from the 12, he had 3. And then from 3, he had 1.
Peter.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying? So it's usually like there's a separation that happens in life. So you have to make sure that you set yourself apart.
Wow. I've never looked at it that way, my guy. I have never ever. This is aha moment for me. Because really, I don't know, Nadia, but for me, I've never really looked at it. So, in that thing now, do we, in terms of setting yourself apart, that includes what? That includes it. Does it now? I don't even know what I'm trying to ask. Like, I know. Narukaruka. But what I'm trying to say is, what does that include? Kwa sababu ukichukua mfano huo wa Bible, ukianzia kutoka juu mpaka chini, it's like Mungu aliwachagua wale. Yaani Mungu alikuwa anapick katika mfano. Na nataka kuileta katika context yetu ambayo sisi tunaishi sasa hivi, you know. The things that you do ambao wewe umechagua kufanya, the main reason is you want to set yourself apart.
Exactly. So here's the thing. I'll give an example. Like we have all these social media and stuff. They're all great. They're all fantastic. If you use them well, they're fantastic. I'm not saying that they're bad. They're fantastic. But here the thing is like how much time are we spending on all those things? It's a lot of time. Sometimes if you look at it, if you look at your stats maybe on the phone, like later in the evening, like where did you spend most of the time? You look at it, oh shoot, I even spend more hours than the hours that I was supposed to work at my job. So you find yourself like, probably you say it's a 8 hours a day job, but you probably maybe spend like 10 hours on screen time, right? So that itself should tell you like we are using this we are actually using a lot of things that are distracting us. One of the statistics say this, like people 75% of people who owns phone, 75% of them will touch their phones 15 minutes, between 0 to 15 minutes after they wake up.
I agree.
0 to 15. So here's the thing. So if you first of all, if you know that, you should know truly that even these people who are creating all these products, they know where to send your notification, when to send your notification. If you are living in a certain country and stuff, because they have all the data, the data and stuff like that, when to send your notification. So if you all the time you have notification, let's say on your phone, then that means that itself is already a distraction. So imagine waking up in the morning and you have all these distractions, all this notification and all that stuff. That means your mind in the morning, that's when you are, that's a time ambayo there's a very high level of concentration that you can be able to acquire so many things, right? And very easy. Sometimes if kama kwa sisi ambao tuko tunabunda tunasoma usiku, unajikuta ukisoma maybe saa 10 ile mpaka saa 1 hapa, unaelewa kinoma, unasoma vitu vingi kinoma. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that time is crucial, but that's the time that most of us are distracted. We're either going to work, so we are on our phones, or we are either doing something that is really distracting us. That is why I always tell people, like, it's really important. Make a habit of just listening maybe to a sermon or a podcast or something like early in the morning. It's therapeutic.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Alpha. I agree with you, and I want to bring Nadia in here. Katika context new is, I know tumeshai kuongelea one of the episodes before, but the whole concept of wanaume being able to spend time alone, right? Alpha lichongea may make sense. It's true. Kuna distraction nyingi sana, like on a daily, hourly. Hapo ujongelea 6 months, right? Na hizo tu ni za simu, jumuisha za familia, kazi, familia, mama yangu, familia labda shemeji zangu upande wa pili wakwe, friends. It's a lot of those things. And talk to me about why it is so important for a person to be able to spend a little bit of time alone. Now, time alone is wakati wa kulala. Like proper time alone where you can actually I always tell people, like, I have some of the best ideas nikiwa bafuni naoga. Like nikiwa bafuni maji yanatoka na mimi. And I don't know if it's because that is when you're spending your time alone period, but then shower ni muda mchache tu. Like, in most of my great ideas zinatokaga pale.
Yeah, I hate many people.
Does that mean I should be spending more time in the shower?
No, Michael. No, that ni muhimu sana kwa sababu when you're spending the time alone is when you get to cancel out the noise za watu wengine. Kama unavyosema unaamka asubuhi, kuna kazi ambazo dynamics zake ziko huko.
Yeah.
Kuna familia dynamics zake. Kuna simu,
yeah,
and the dynamics of the phone, right? So we're constantly bombarded with information.
Yeah.
So the more we're bombarded with information, the lower our internal voice gets.
Right.
But when we find, I tell you, the shower, it's because you're in a soothing environment. There's the sounds of the water. Basically, you get to reconnect with your senses. Maji unayasikia, you feel the water, right? You can smell if you're using scented soap or whatever. You're getting to be more mindful in the shower. The brain is clearing out. So ile fog and external noises inapungua. Yeah? And so it's extremely important. So imagine if in the shower, let's say you're in there for 15 minutes and you get some of the best ideas.
Right.
From clearing your mind just for 15 minutes. And surely, I'm sure in those 15 minutes, it's not the whole time that your mind is clear. About five minutes or less is when your mind is literally actually clear. Muda mwingine wote mawazo, umemfikiria huyu, umemfikiria yule, umepanga hiki kingine for your today. And then you get a few minutes of just purely mindful presence in the moment, in the
And it's very unconscious when it happens. Not like you plan for it, right?
Yeah. You know, and then once you get that state, that's when now your inner voice gets to get space. It's like a platform. Unajipatia mwenyewe a platform to actually hear your inside. What is actually going on with me? What will make me fulfilled? What do I need to, what are the next steps in my life? You cannot do that when you're constantly bombarded na Instagram posts and information and adverts.
Madeni.
Madeni, conflicts. You know? So maybe it would be difficult for people to realistically say, okay, I'm going to take even a full day or a full week to myself. But being consciously, purposefully intentional when it comes to it, I think is the most crucial. And for, you know, it can be a whole month, and that's something that works for you. It can be a whole week, that something works for you. Or it can be 15 minutes. You know, but making that an intentional moment, it's extremely important for men, for humans in general. Because the sure thing is that this constant bombarding of information is really quieting down, and you're basically just giving your brain content to work on.
Yeah.
So there's very little concentration on we mwenyewe. What is it that you want to work on? Because unaweza ukaa na mtu mnaongea, it's like, oh, this is an interesting topic, naenda na research. But it really isn't something, maybe it's not something I wanted to research. It's not of interest to me. It's just an interesting conversation. And then our brain, to help us, deceives us into thinking that, this is your idea. So that it's peaceful, right? So that my self-esteem, my confidence remains intact. So that I don't feel I'm just being influenced. But that's what happens. In reality, when we're just bombarded by information, we get influenced. And until you actually get that moment to just quiet down and give your own voice space to tell you what it is that you want, then we'll continue to go towards the direction. Tunakuwa bendera.
Tunafuata upepo.
We're blown here and there. Like our emotions are just a flag. You know?
The confidence part, I think on the confidence part, I think confidence is one of the really most important thing. I think when there is confidence, I think there's so many things. If we would have been confident, I think there's so many things that would have been. We could have achieved. Because here's the thing. I'll refer again to the Bible. There's this lady that one example that, to be honest, for me, I think is one of my favorite story in the Bible. Moses, you know the story of Moses. Yeah. So the story of Moses. So when Moses was born, during that time, there was like Pharaoh. All of them. All the men. All the kids were boys.
Wale wa Israeli watakuwa wengi.
Wanaongezeka
watatupiga. Kwa Pharaoh akaja na a very good solution. huwa watoto wa kiume wanazaliwa. Kwa wao ndio watatusumbua.
Yes, exactly.
Farao alitisha sana.
So the crazy part for me on that story is the story of Moses' sister. So the mother created like sort of like a basket.
Yeah, basket.
Akamweka mtoto.
River Nile. Yeah.
Okay, then he put it on the River Nile. Yeah. So for me, the story, it's a confidence of the Moses' sister. So the Bible says that the Moses' sister was following that basket. First of all, knowing that you are in the slave country, knowing that all the boys are supposed to be killed, right? And also, you don't know where that basket is gonna end and all those things, but you are also a child, you know. But that girl was following the basket, where the basket is gonna end. So she followed the basket. The basket ended up to Pharaoh's daughter.
Yes.
She had a confidence to go and face Pharaoh's daughter and tell her, like, hey,
I know a person who can look after this kid.
I can find a Hebrew woman who can come and nurse this kid, because this is a Hebrew kid.
Yeah.
So that confidence, first of all, understanding the whole situation, but still following the basket, and still being head balls to follow to go to the lady,
the princess,
to the princess,
yeah,
and see the price after that. Yeah. You know what came after that? It's the fact that Moses' mother was getting paid.
Kumlea
mwanae. She was getting paid. So their family, they were getting paid. You know what I mean? So that when, I don't know, like when you have confidence, when you have again, and it all comes with the pieces. There's so many things of that have to come to it. Yeah. But the moment you get that confidence, there are some things that you know, like, there's no way I'm gonna go here and there's gonna be success.
So this is which brings me back to now to your life choices na career ambayo umefanya. Where you never, I understand kwa upande wa wazazi, expectations ilivyokuwa, na umetupa very funny story babako kuambia kwamba kijana anataka kazi. Ingaje anakuona unaendesha gari, umepanga nyumba. Mtoto asije kwa anakama watu. You know how weird it is kuambia watu mwanangu anatafuta kazi. Lakini watu wanaona mtoto wako anaendesha Audi mjini, very good car. Amepanga in a very posh area kwenye apartment, lakini unaambia watu mwanangu anatafuta. Sijui kwa mzazi au alikuwa anahisi unapiga back time mjini. But for me nataka kuuliza kwa sababu again nikijaribu kuileta kwa sababu I know personally baadhi ya watu ambao muamko wa jamii sio familia. Sasa nyingine unaweza kuwa familia inaweza kuwa very supportive na very understanding. Na mara nyingi wakati tunasema kama familia yangu imekubali then the rest of you can you know what I mean? Lakini sio visiwa. Tunaishi na watu ambao wanatuzunguka. Na tena katika context yetu ya Kitanzania ni kwamba we have a very big support system. Sio baba na mama na familia, kuna washangazi, wajomba. You know, all those things. Na one way or the other wanashiriki kwenye kutolea. Kwa sababu ndio likizo, nenda kwa mjomba, nenda kwa shangazi. Kuna muda wazazi wanakwama and then shangazi na mjomba wanachangia. Umesoma uko Iringa lakini kuna shangazi uko Iringa, kwa likizo badala ya kuja down unaenda kwa Iringa. So they are part of the parcel of our society. Na wewe katika safari yako ya udaktari na wenyewe walikuwa invested kwenye hivi vitu kwa sababu like this is our alpha. Tumeona nakuwa. So talk to me about pressure ya jamii kuona kwamba kwa nini upractice akaendo ulichosoma, kwa nini unakimbizana na makamera every day. Kwa nini usikae ukatibia, how this ilikuwa na uzito kwako, na how did you address that as well?
It was very tough. It was very tough. Why? Because it started from home. That's why I'm saying it was tough. It wasn't easy. So I don't want to say it was easy, because here's the thing, from home, maybe if I started from home, like our dad and mom, I think one of the things that they promised themselves is they didn't have like a very high-end paying job. So, but one of the things that they promised is they will take all of us to school. So they made sure kwamba sisi hatutajenga, sisi hatutanunua fancy stuff, but you guys will go to school. So my dad has this saying like, elimu ni kama maziwa. You put anything on it, kitaonekana. Anything of different color, kitaonekana. So that was his principle. He was like, it's about education, it's about mambo spiritual. So he was more focusing on that, you know. So, but he was like pushing all of us to school, and it was a great example even for other people that were around him. Like, you're inspiring us because you're taking all your kids to school, you invest in your kids. So imagine So for me, the hardest moment was like, wait, dad and mom, they actually really invested on us. Like when it comes to education, they really pushed in terms of investment. So it was just like that realization. I'm not sure, but they have a right to tell me. To some extent, you feel like they have a right to tell me. So that was the hardest part inside. So outside is just friends that were like asking, maybe especially when you don't have a job or you're still looking for another job, like, yo dude, what are you doing? But you have to practice and say what's happening. There's this apply here and there. But when you tell people like, no, this is more, maybe I'm more maybe into public health or more into these other things, like, yeah, but you
don't have a job.
But you don't have a job, so just take this, So those moments, which are really tough moments, where you be like, but I can dive it. And sometimes you start even applying. If I'm honest, you start even applying, but deep inside you're like, no. So you literally apply, you go for interview, but like, I wish they don't call me. Yeah. That moment, like you go until the interview. I went to the interview to some of the hospital, but you're like, I wish they don't call me. So that's deep inside me. You have taken the opportunity that your friend has given you. You have gone to the interview, but you come back. But like, no. Because that your heart is not gonna be there. So once that, then I'm like, so deep inside I was just like, am I pleasing people? I'm pleasing myself. What am I doing in life? So it was really hard in the beginning, but now people have
I'm sure everybody knows.
People understand it, but even parents now, like my dad has started to understand a bit. My mom also, it took her a long time, but later she understood. My family, the same thing, like same way was to my brother. So I think what I would say is this goes back to how we got raised. I would say that's why I always give credit to them. And I don't know, and I was telling you, like, I don't know where they got this, maybe from the Bible, because they are not like very exposed, like going outside and stuff like that, but they just, there's something that they knew. We need to invest on education, and we need to invest on the spirituality of this kid. That's it. This is all we're gonna do. If he's building a house, we'll build. See how dad build a house, like akiwa mzee kabisa. I'm a staff. That he built his first house. But every single penny, he invested in education, investing in growing us spiritually.
That's to be honest, Nadia, that's an extra pressure, because then ambayo mzazi amefanya.
Exactly.
So then it makes even much more sense kwa hiyo kwa doctor, right?
Yeah.
Practice full time, because the amount of,
I don't want to hurt my parents.
Yes.
I want them to be happy.
And being a doctor is what's going to make them happy. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it was tough. It wasn't easy. It was tough. But later on, you try to talk to them every time you go visit them. You try to speak with them, like, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is what I love. This is what I do. So later they come to realize, I think it's great. I think it's good. I think if you're happy, then that's good. But deep inside, it's not easy. It's not an easy decision.
It's not. So as a parent now, this is me thinking as a parent. And unajua, we pick bits and pieces kutokana tulivyolelewa, and then you try to blend na experience yako na expectations zako kwa watoto wako na kujaribu kuona namna gani ambapo unaweza kukua. So somebody once asked me kama nataka mtoto wako awe nani na nini. And I always say, I just want them to be great human beings, wawe na upendo, wawe na heshima na vitu kama hivyo. And I hope I'm not going to be one of those parents anaambia mtoto kuwa doctor au kuwa engineer au kuwa nani. Well, I didn't get that pressure. So hopefully ni kitu ambacho naweza kwa watoto wangu. Lakini vivyo unaelewa, as a parent you want what's best for your kid.
Absolutely.
Right? Now wanting what's best for your kid involve wewe kuangalia, unaweza kuangalia kwamba opportunity gani zipo na career path anaochukua yeye ina future gani mbele. Kwa sababu in all honest, I'm 100% sure nilikuwa naongea na mtoto mmoja akamwambia nataka kuwa Diamond Platinum. I'm like, well and good. But chances are tuna Diamond mmoja out of 60 million people in Tanzania. But then we have a lot of doctors. So you have better chance ya kufanikiwa ukiwa doctor kuliko ukiwa Diamond. But then again, utaka kukatisha mtoto yako, but what if? What if that kid makes it? You know what I mean? What if that kid makes it? So how do you balance between the two, Nadia? Between saying it's okay doing what you what you love, what you're passionate about, but also as a parent I'm concerned and nataka na maisha mazuri na chances za kufanikiwa huku ni kubwa zaidi kuliko kufanikiwa kwenye career, kuliko kufanikiwa katika njia unataka kuichukua wewe. How do you balance out the two?
I think for parents, because you're charged with the task of raising a human being, you know, and it is your job and duty to make sure that they're having the best that they can right now. They're learning and they're going to grow into productive human beings who contribute to their society. But one thing, I think the balance between there is you can have your visions, because as a child, you're not mentally at a stage where you can make these decisions of what I want to do with my life. Right? So it's not bad for parents to have a sense of, I would love for my child to do this or that. But I like what you said. You spoke of the values you want your child to have. I think that is the most important, because I'm not saying I want my daughter to be a lawyer or a doctor or what, but those values that make actually any profession she decides to choose.
Absolutely.
Those values will guide her and help her to do it in the best way she can, are the most important. So as parents, expose them to as much, but stress on those values. That is then what's important, because you're teaching them the core. They're basically they're if you think of a boat and you're that steering wheel, their direction are their values. Their values will direct them towards being a doctor or being a lawyer. It's those values. See, like you said, I value helping people.
Yeah.
That value, we share the same, but because my interest is in psychology,
Right.
it drove me towards being a psychologist. Your interests were in journalism, it drove you towards journalism, but our value was the same. So either way, we ended up towards the direction we personally wanted to end up in. But it's that value that guided us. You know? And it was the freedom that your parents, my parents, Alpha's parents afforded us to be able to then explore. Okay, you spoke about your parents valued education. They didn't value doctor. They valued education.
Yeah.
Learning.
Yeah, love that.
They valued religion, faith, spirituality. That's a lot of values come from our faith. So their main values, their main focus, where we're instilling these values. Lifelong learner, whatever you choose. Education is a value.
You be around these things.
Yes, and your faith, because we know you have a moral compass.
Yeah.
So whatever you choose to do, you have this innate drive to guide you towards the best outcome for yourself and for the people around you. So it was never doctor, lawyer, psychologist. It was just be a good human being. You know? These values, love, helping, caring, nurturing. So as parents, I think the most thing to stress is those core values, and then expose them. Expose them to different fields. Ili sasa wao, they'll get to a point where they'll use those values you've instilled in them to make that decision. You know? Because mwisho wa siku, as parents, yes, you have, I want my daughter to do this or do that, but you get to a stage where they're no longer
have control.
And now they have to live their life. The biggest distress parents get is when they say vision from an early age. Atakuwa daktari mtoto wangu. Atakuwa daktari. Some mtoto akifika to a stage where hataki kuwa daktari. And that is when now there's distress for both the parent and the child. Kwa sababu yeye anajisikia guilty, my parent ameni expose kwa madaktari wote, my lawyer wote, and expose me in this environment, lakini sitaki kwenda huku, but I have to do this because my parents want this.
Wow.
So you're stifling yourself. So either way, someone loses. Or both. Because then if they enter in that career, we have a lot of people committing suicide, a lot of people ending up with substance abuses. We have a lot of people just suffering. Right? And then mwisho wa siku, when they suffer, the parents suffer.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of time parents don't see that way. They don't see. I think, as a parent, I think it comes from a good place.
Yeah. It does. 1,000%.
Yeah, 100%. Natoka kwenye sehemu. The only challenge is accepting and understanding. Kwamba ni huyu ni binadamu, ana maamuzi yake, ana choices zake. and you as a parent kuja to terms with that fact kwamba choices zake zinaweza zikakinzana kabisa na mimi na ndoto na mipango niliyokuwa nayo about this kid.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that because and I'm sure she won't mind. She's my younger sister, my uncle's daughter.
Yeah.
Very young, so she was at uni, and then she called me the other time. She was like, Uncle Alpha. She was like, bro, Alpha, I want to drop uni. I was just like, what are you talking about? She was like,
you're like, that's too much pressure to put you on me.
I was like, what do you want to tell me? Like, drop uni? There's no way I'm gonna tell you to do that.
Yeah.
She was like, no. I was like, I'm serious. I don't enjoy this. First of all, this course that I'm doing, I don't enjoy it. But apart from the fact that I don't enjoy it, I don't feel like it's gonna add any value in my life right now. I was like, what are you? Then what are you gonna do after you do that? I say, I'm gonna try to do the business. There's a dream that I have to do this and this and this. So she laid out the plan for me of what she wanted to do. I was like, listen, if it was me, in your position, this is what I would do. I would finish first school. Then, because I'm second year, just 1 year and a half remained. Then I'll finish school. Then after that, I'll go do whatever that I want to do. So I'll have my degree and do whatever that I want to do, right? But she said, no, I don't feel like that. And there's so much I can achieve. Yeah, and she was so passionate about what she was saying. Then I was like, okay. Then this is what I said to her. So that was too much pressure because I was like, the blame is gonna come on me.
Niliongea na Alpha.
Yeah, niliongea na Alpha and stuff like that. You know.
So just before you go, now wewe ukaanza kufikiria watu wengine.
Yeah. Then I started thinking like,
ukaanza kufikiria watu watakuonaje wewe.
It's
not about her anymore. It's about you.
Yeah. Then this is what I said to her. They say, if it was me, of course I would continue to finish. But here's the thing. This is the principle I use in life. The same thing that I've just said here. Like, if you feel like you have a peace and you don't have a single doubt,
Komba, this is it. Or
if you don't have a single doubt, you are sure 100%. Do whatever you want to do. But if you have a doubt, if you have a doubt, don't do it. If I was in your position, this is a decision I'm gonna do. I'm gonna continue to finish school. But for you, the advice for me, this is what the Bible said. That's what I told her. Like, I refer back because I was like, listen, this is how you were raised back home.
This is one thing I always tell people. I learned it the hard way. But when you call Christ, the Bible has answer for everything. Now smart people, they always refer where there's argument, where there's advice. They always take you back to the Bible. Yeah. Literally saying, Mungu alisema, and then you decide. Your own.
Yeah. So I told her that. Then I was like, if you have a peace that surpasses all understanding, then you can go and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But know the fact that whatever the decision that you're gonna take, I'm still gonna be here as your brother to support you. Whatever, whether from the spiritual point of view, mentally, I'm gonna support you. Financially, I'm gonna support you to some extent. You know, I'm not saying I'm gonna do like I'm gonna go all out, but to some extent, I'm still gonna support you. I'm still gonna support you. 1 month later, she called me like, "Hey, I've dropped it."
Wow.
I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Support though. What did you expect?
I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Then year went back. Then she started doing whatever she wanted to do. It didn't work. Another year, it didn't work. I was like, "Girl, what are we gonna do? What are we going to do?" Then she said, "I'm gonna make up my mind. I'm gonna look for a job. I'm gonna get a job, and then I'm gonna use that job to pay for my school fee to do an open university." And guess what? Luckily, she got a job. That's what I'm saying. It's lucky, and she's blessed, to be honest.
Yeah.
She got a job. She's now working, and hopefully she's gonna do what she said.
She would do.
Yeah, because she's so passionate. She was so passionate about what she wanted to do. Because I was thinking two things, as you were saying earlier on. Should I say continue? And then probably this is what she wants to do. Maybe that's her way to succeed in life. You know, because you don't know what life brings, but you advise based on the wisdom that you think that God has given us. So I said, this is how the scripture say, I would do this if it was me, then it all goes back to you. Then she made her decision. It did not work, whatever she was trying to do. But later, right now, she has a job that say, I'm gonna pay for my own school fees. I'm not gonna ask anyone to pay for my school fees, but I'm gonna study again, a different course that I think I like, and I'm gonna pay for my own school. I was like, fantastic,
But
great job.
This is what I always say, like lemonade thing. Kwamba waga natumia mfano kwamba when in those kind of situation it's a win-win because now she knows kwamba I tried. It didn't work. It's cool. You know. So and it's for her it's experience about will last a lifetime. Kuliko maybe again and then angekuwa bitter. Angesema I should have. And it's the worst feeling you can have.
It's the worst feeling. Man.
It's the worst thing you can have. I should have. Na vitu kama hivyo it's but again point in ile you have to be really committed to your vision.
Very committed.
And you have to be 100% sure. Because I feel like people always provide support katika vitu ambavyo wanaamini yani kama I believe katika kitu anachokifanya Nadia na nikaona jinsi gani Nadia alivyo committed, it's very easy to get support kutoka kwa and people will always pull out their support next to me. You know what, she actually believes in it. Now I'm seeing she's putting 110% in it, so it's easy kwa watu kwenda kusupport.
It's easy to jump on a boat that is already moving.
Yes, you know what I mean. Kuliko Nadia anambia naamini katika hichi kitu and then baadaye namuona tu anapiga back time. I'm like I'm
not sure about you.
Kwa sababu dako na kumbe na resources zako na zangu. Acha nikanywe pombe. It's like that. So it's good Now another thing I think for me it's good kwamba she knows kwamba I have mtu ambaye you can actually count.
I think because I was also helped mind you. I was also helped because when I finished school, when I finished the internship, I was looking for a job for quite a long time and doing like different things and stuff like that. Also, my sisters also understood my vision. Wow. So they were ready to support me to some extent. Right, not fully, obviously, but to some extent. You know, they were just like, they kind of understand. They don't understand fully, like dude, tafuta kazi bwana. You know what I mean? Tafuta kazi. But they, to some extent, that they understood. That's why they also advised me, like, bro, either tafuta kazi, because whatever that you're trying to do it, I don't know when it's gonna make it. Because here is one thing that I've learned. It's not like entrepreneurship is a great thing. Like we all love, it's fantastic, it's a great thing. But also need to understand that while we are all doing that, is the environment supportive? Maybe it's not supportive, right? But also while we are all doing that, we need to understand that we need to eat, we need to do all this other.
We need to live.
We need to live. Sometimes you have family, you need to provide for the family and stuff like that. So it's a great thing. But also before you go that, you gotta ask yourself different questions. Like just be wise. Be wise. Whatever you're doing, whether it's entrepreneurship, which all of them is great because you don't know what is gonna come next. Just be wise. Just be wise. Yeah. Because don't say like, oh, I'm just gonna go, just do that. Like, fantastic. Be wise. Have a plan. Be wise because it's not always gonna work, and it does not mean that it's not gonna work. Yeah. Cause so you don't know. It's like it's dark.
That answer is always not helpful. It's not always gonna work, but it doesn't guarantee that. You know, it could go either way. So I'm like, so how do you prepare?
So that's a piece now. You need to have that sense of peace. You need to have that sense of confidence that whatever that I'm doing is that. So it's understanding that sometimes it might not work, but I'm still gonna push it forward. But be wise.
Be wise.
Yeah. Be wise. Yeah.
And when there is that piece that I know this is something I want to do, like your cousin, it's even if I go and I do not succeed in my vision doesn't come to fruition, then it does not completely demolish my moral, does not completely break my spirit, because I know that this is something I was passionate, I wanted to do. And you're able then to take the lessons. Sasa nimejifunza, okay, labda bora nirudi shule. And then gain more, gather more strength, resources, and then I'll come back and I will do this.
I'll do this.
But if it's something that was never your direction, there wasn't that inner peace that you that conviction that this is really what I want to do, then whatever turbulence you face will break you. And it will be difficult to learn those lessons because it was never a path you wanted to walk anyway. And then you have someone to blame.
Which we all love.
Which we all love. And
That's the best part. To blame someone?
Yeah.
It's easy.
It's easy to blame someone.
That is the biggest hindrance as human beings have, is that someone to blame.
Yes.
Because then when I can blame Alpha,
Yeah.
then I don't need to change.
Yeah.
Alpha's the problem.
I think it applies even kwenye relationship.
Ndio, everywhere.
Nadia ndio tatizo. Badiliki.
Kido badilike.
Nadia ndio badiliki.
And then mnaendelea kubaki mule kwenye vicious cycle and you're seeing no progress, but because you are not taking ownership of you. What you put out in the world, you're not taking ownership because it's Michael's fault. It's Alpha's fault. They must change.
Yeah.
They must change.
Yeah, it's so interesting because let me the person is really interesting. Because imagine this. It's just like I'm not married, but I think one of the questions that I always ask myself, like, can I marry me? That's the question I always ask myself. Like if I'm looking at myself like, I don't like this part of me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have someone who was
this
part of me. So it's something like when you prioritize, like looking deep inside you, say like, this is a part of me that I need to change. This is a part of me that I need to change. That really helps. That really helps you to become a better person. You might not be perfect. Yes, we all understand. No one is perfect. But listen, the moment you say, I'm gonna make intentional, like I'm gonna be more intentional in these particular things. Like me, I know like I'm bad at this, so I'm gonna make effort to change that. I'm good at this. I'm gonna make more effort to grow, improve on where I'm at. So I think that's the pivotal point.
Yeah, but it was come to the point about tunaongea now. I think that could only, one of the reasons that could really work is when you get to spend time on yourself.
Yeah.
Na kuangalia what are the things I love about Michael, what are the things I hate about Michael. Like in most of us tunatumia distraction kama njia ku escape.
Yeah.
Na ndio maana we don't want to spend time alone. Ndio maana I commend you for what you do. You know, and maybe I should start telling my wife, maybe I'll be needing a week.
Some alone time.
Alone. Nimwachie watoto na nyumba. Mimi niende sehemu.
Offline.
Simu haipatikani wala nini. She gonna kill me. She gonna kill me.
Like,
however, I need to find a mechanism that is going to work.
You can suggest that. Put a tracker.
Put a track on me.
Surveillance camera. You watch.
Yeah.
You watch my solitude.
But and I think hii narudi kwenye kuna siku Faraja Nyalandu alikuwa ameandika tweet kuhusiana na baba yake, the lessons azipata kwa baba yake as a man, as a father. Because one of the things ambavyo alikuwa anashangaa lakini she's grateful for alivyokuwa mkubwa ni uwezo wa baba yake ku spend time alone. Na akawa amesema one of the things that as a man you should do, you should be able to spend time alone. It doesn't matter what, and you should find a way to make it work. You need to have some time alone. Na ndio maana wengine wanakuwa na man cave, you know, ambao wengine wanaitumia. Kwa hiyo kuna wengine ambao
it's a distraction.
It's a man cave. Think of it. Scratch that. I didn't say that. But then kuna wengine, we had an episode with Idris ambaye alikuwa anasema kwamba he wakes up at 4 in the morning every day because that is when anakuwa kimya. So atasoma kitabu, atameditate, atafikiria. So by the time inafika saa 2 saa 1 simu zinaanza kuingia, he's pretty much set for the day. But that is moment ya ku spend time alone na vitu kama hivyo. You know what I mean? Most of us, we do not know how to do that. Hata kama tunajua, we don't commit enough. We don't commit enough to do that because something has to give for you to spend the muda alone. So you have to say, I'm giving up friends, I'm giving up weekend nyumbani,
I'm giving up that extra
I'm
hour of
giving
sleep.
up that extra hours of sleep. Na vitu kama hivi, you need to get off your comfort zone. A lot of that tayari tuna routine ambayo tunadhani inafanya kazi. So we don't want to do that. Hiyo moja. Pili, maybe we don't want to find out that probably the worst things we think about ourselves are probably true. And that is hard.
Often.
Yani kama mtu unajua mimi nimekaa kivivu sana. Chances are nikikaa nikijireflect nitagundua Michael kweli ni vipi.
Oh my God.
And we hate that. We hate that. Kwa tunatumia every other means tusifanye ile kazi ambayo tunapaswa kufanya, which eventually will lead us to becoming better people.
Yeah. And ukiangalia, our distress comes from because in the back of our heads najua Nadia mvivu. So Alpha akisema Nadia wewe mvivu, I get you that distress and frustration is here because I don't want to accept it, and you're trying to make me accept it, and so then there's conflict. Lakini when you do take time and you actually accept, kwa sababu tayari iko in your head, sio kama ujui, like you say, unajua. But once you accept, then you're able to do something. Right?
I think,
and even mtu akipoint out, you're able to then accept and say, actually, kweli. And you can give your excuses, but at least there will be no distress.
So true. No, because here's the thing. Look at this. Yeah, so I think one of the things I am very passionate about learning. I think one of the things that I've realized in learning, like if you want to learn anything, one of the most important things you should have is a state of humbleness. You should be humble. Like, to learn, you have to be humble first, right? So if you are not humble, it is so hard to learn. Like, literally, to learn anything if you're not humble. Like, I'm talking about anything. If you're not humble, it's so hard to learn anything. Because just think about school. If you're not humble enough to listen to what the teacher says or to have discipline in school, you get kicked out of school.
Utoboy,
right? So the sense of humbleness, or the state of humbleness, like every single one of us, that value is really, really important. Why am I saying this? Because it's the moment that you are humble, you say, Komba, I'll go down, like, yes, I know that this is bad. I'll listen to Michael, to the advice that Michael said, or I will listen to what the Bible says, or I'll listen to this, or I'll do this, or I'll do that, or I'll start doing 1, 2, 3, or I won't get angry, or itaniuma lakini nitafanya. Ushaelewa? Like it's a bittersweet, something like that. Yeah. So unajua kabisa kwamba itakuuma lakini utafanya. Why? Because you have taken a step, because you have been humble. You can't take that step if you're not humble. If you're not humble, it's so hard to take that step. So the very first thing to learn something, be humble.
Be humble. Be humble.
Because we didn't go to school knowing the ABCs.
Yep.
That's where we went and we learned it.
Yeah.
So we can't really use the excuse, I don't know how to set time for myself. Because of course you don't know. That's why you're not doing it. Then go off and explore. Kama unapoamka asubuhi kwenda shule. Amka, set that routine. Kama ni asubuhi au jioni, or it's a week or a day away, go do it. Hata kama hujui unachokifanya huko, the fact that umeamka umeenda, tayari you're starting to build that habit. You're humbling yourself to the experience. You know? So a lot of people say, but I don't know how to do this. Great. Accept.
That's the whole point, right?
That's the whole point.
That's why you want to learn, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's we don't expect you to know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you did, then you would have been doing it.
Yeah.
You know? So I think when we find ourselves saying, but I don't know how to do this, and use that as an excuse to go away, to return and actually reflect on the message we're giving ourselves. You know? Is it that maybe for some it's not important? You know, watu wengine live their lives with distractions. From their youth paka anazikwa, they want to just be distracted. Right? And that's okay. These are life choices. But when you notice that you're now experiencing or feeling distress because of the life that you're living and how you're living your life, that is your body telling you that this is not what we want. That's your body saying, wake up. It's like when someone shakes you. That's what your body is saying, you know what? This is not it's not right.
And it's not comfortable.
It's not comfortable.
But in the end you just get to learn so many things. But my nieces, when they come to visit me, so I don't have a TV. In my house I don't have a TV. So when my nieces come to visit me, so they come, like my sisters, and they have like one of them has 1, the other one has 3, the other one has 2. So when they come in, so it's like
full house.
It's a full house. It's full house. You know, and some of them they're actually a bit older. Some of them walk from 2. Some of them walk from 3. So when they come, kuna wale they like younger one, they say wadogo kabisa and stuff. So when they come, usually they're like, oh my God, there's no TV, there's nothing. So they want to spend time on their phone. So they take the phones and start. I'm like, what's the point of coming to visit me? You know? Yeah. So they're like, oh, why you don't have TV? So they started dissing me like, why you don't have TV and stuff like that. So here's the thing. So what I do is this. When I know that they are coming, I made sure that I have all the recipe of different food. Right? So when they come, one thing we have to do, because most of them, they're ladies. I mean, they are all ladies. Yeah. So when they come, they're girls. I'm like, today, this is what we're going to cook. And we're going to cook from YouTube. Right? So, tuna open up a YouTube, maybe you cook fried rice. Wewe ndio utakuwa unasoma maelekezo.
The rest of us tunafanya.
The rest of us watapika pale. Right? So, mnajikuta spend like, for that meal, of course that meal maybe you can cook maybe for half an hour. But that meal for them, because they are just scattered all over them. So they can use even 2 hours. So when you put 2 hours they've spent learning how to cook something and doing something, right?
And having fun while at it.
And having fun at it.
Yeah.
So they will always love to come. They're like, oh my God, the only down part, there's no TV.
Yeah, Uncle Alpha is cool.
It's cool. Oh my God, we cook, we do this, we do that.
Yeah.
So, but the fact that there's no TV, the fact that they don't get time to spend on the phone, they hate that. But they enjoy, like, they're cooking, they're doing this, they're that, and then they're saving all that stuff, because that's also a learning process for them.
Yeah.
You know, that's also a learning process, because once they come in, once they started doing all these things, like watching TV and stuff, then there's no bond. There's no communication. There's nothing in
and your mind is not
that.
growing.
And your mind is also not growing. But just teaching them in the sense that you yourself, you as kids, you have to be humble enough to understand that you go to other people's house, they won't have TV.
Yeah.
You can't go at other people's and say, oh my God, there's no TV. And so, no, you can say here when I'm around.
It's safe.
It's safe. But you go to other places. There's some people they don't have TV. Right? They're like, be humble. Utapika, wewe ndio utawapikia wenzako, na wewe utakula, wewe utaosha vyombo. Right? So that's scattered. We grew up back home when my sister were cooking every single day, and we grew up. Most of our life we spent in Tanga. Then we moved here. But my parents used to move a lot. But we were born when we were in Tanga. Me and my younger brother. So in the like every day at night. So that time we moved from Tanga mjini to Lushoto. So when we were living there, it's cold in the evening. It's really cold in Lushoto. So at night, baada ya chakula cha jioni, kuna zamu za kuosha vyombo. So tunakwenda kuosha vyombo. It's cold, bro. Sinki la nje. Unaoshia vyombo kwenye sinki la nje. Vyombo vina mafuta. Kwa hiyo ni kwanza kuna maji yale ya kusuzia ni ya moto. Sawa, ya vuguvugu. Yale maji ya kuoshea most of the time
ya baridi.
Yanakuwa mara nyingi sana yanakuwa ya baridi. Kwa it's cold, but zile small details unazipata, they make you to be a certain person. Like these tiny things that you do when you are young, they make you to be a better person later in the future.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think you go back. It's like all these value, like being humble and all that. You get it from
the beginning.
From the beginning, all the way from the beginning.
Life teaches you that, right?
Yes, exactly.
Life teaches you, right? I mean, life teaches you to be humble. And I think this is the thing that sometimes this person is very humble. It is not by accident.
Yeah, it's not by accident.
Most of the time, it's either by life choices, life experience, how they were raised, and this is why this is why we do this podcast, because we get to have all this conversation that usually we wouldn't, usually we wouldn't have this kind of talk. So Alpha, as you're winding up, for the conversation we've had, if there's one thing nataka mtu achukue from this conversation we've had today, what would that be?
Wow, it's so hard. Always, when you want to do something, make sure that you have that peace. The peace that passes through all understanding.
The peace that surpasses all understanding. 100%, no single doubt. Then go for it. Then go for it.
Yep.
Wow, that's a good one. Nadia?
I think reconnect. Try to discover what your values are. Kitu gani ni muhimu kwako? Kwa sababu values they transcend profession, they transcend career, they transcend everything. But they apply everywhere. So let's know our values. So that's basically our steering wheel. Lakini pia we shouldn't stop listening to our compass, our emotions, what our minds, our bodies are telling us, because hiyo ndio inakuonyesha sasa kweli unaenda kwenye hiyo direction uliokuwa unasema unataka kwenda. And once that happens, there's no shame in recalibrating,
right,
and shifting your direction towards your value.
I think for me as a parent, it's more about understanding kwamba my choices are not my kids' choices. And yani kabisa na nadhani nianze kujiandaa kisaikolojia kwamba yani at some point my kids wanaweza kaambia bwana mzee, that was you, but mimi binafsi nataka kufanya, and I should be able, I just hope I become a good enough parent kuweza kuwalea vizuri kwamba values your baby katika maamuzi yote atakayofanya, and then mimi ndio accepting of their, yani niweze ku accept their career choices, cause nikaanza kujisemea hapo mwanangu awe accountant hapa kanaambia bwana nataka, maana mwanangu mkubwa is 6 right now, jana niambia nataka kuwa ninja, juzi niambia nataka kuwa police, 2 weeks ago niambia nataka kuwa teacher, a month ago nataka kuwa doctor. She's 6, but then again that's how life works, right? The more you're exposed to things, the more you want to try different things, you know, and all these other things. So maybe for me kujua kama my life choices are not my kids' choices. Na nadhani kuna wazazi ambao wana mabiashara yao nataka watoto wasimamie, and then they're kwa disappointed kabisa. I think kama ume-instill values, then good values, then chochote atakachokifanya ni maamuzi yao. So yeah, Alpha, thank you for being here, my guy. We appreciate this. Has been a really, really interesting conversation. I've had a light bulb moment, man, kwenye this episode. Especially usema Mungu anachagua watu, I'm like, Mungu nichague na mimi. But that was a very good aha moment for me. And I hope watu wengine watasikiliza pia, they'll get to see that when wataelewa. But then, you know, the point ya kuwa na podcast is to spark up conversation. So ukisikiliza kama kuna kitu unataka kutuambia, you know, have questions, or you want to pick up the discussions further, no worries, man. Just check us out on Twitter at Men the Podcast, Instagram Men the Podcast, Facebook at Men the Podcast, you know, and you know, tuambie chochote unataka kutuambia. Don't worry, don't forget to give us a rating. Now, you know, you can catch us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Boomplay, Audiomack, Google Podcast, Deezer, and pretty much everywhere ambapo unapata nafasi ya kusikiza podcast yako. This has been great, man. Till next time, peace and thank you for listening.
Live. You're listening to Live with Men, the podcast.